My mother's voice fractured over the phone. Your ex-wife's boyfriend. He put your son in the ICU. The world shrank to static. He said he'll finish the job tonight. She was sobbing, her words catching. The doctors, they don't think he'll survive. I could hear her shaking through the weak signal. That's when my commander stepped into the tent. He didn't ask what was wrong. He simply said, "Grab your gear. Helicopters ready. No paperwork, no orders. Move." When a man like me flies home, it isn't for small talk. 2. The reveal of conflict. The hospital reeked of metal and disinfectant. Machines beeped like distant gunfire. My 10-year-old son lay still, wires coiled from his chest like snakes. A nurse quietly explained he had fallen. That was the boyfriend story. But these injuries weren't from a fall. I'd seen what men do when they think nobody's watching. My ex-wife stood nearby. Mascara had run down her cheeks to her chin, but her eyes were bone dry. "Mark," she whispered. "It was an accident." I stared back. Not angry, just silent. Silence makes liars talk too much. "Evan, he didn't mean to, he just—" She stopped when she saw my expression. The same expression I used while looking through a rifle scope at insurgents. That night, I stayed by my son's bed until sunrise. He didn't wake, but he breathed barely. When the doctor came in, I asked just one question. Was it blunt force trauma? He hesitated, then nodded. Baseball bat. I walked out calmly, like stepping out of a briefing room. I didn't need more questions. Only the truth. 3. Rising suspense. The next 3 days were pure reconnaissance. I pulled her phone records. 2 calls at 11:52 p.m., same number, then silence for 48 hours. Evan. Financial transfers. Late night withdrawals. The same night my son was attacked. A cop friend pulled surveillance footage from a nearby liquor store. I watched Evan's truck pass at 8:10 p.m. That was the estimated time of the assault. Coincidence is a word civilians use to sleep better. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I watched them instead. She laughed when he touched her shoulder outside her apartment, the same hand that almost beat my son to death. I memorized every movement, every fake smile, every lie hidden in her posture. When she called to talk, I agreed. I let her cry, let her pretend regret. But inside, I was already 3 moves ahead. I had a DNA test kit mailed anonymously to the hospital. Not for the injury, for something else. My son's blood. Mine. Hers. I didn't know why I needed to do it until the suspicion surfaced, quiet as a ghost. He doesn't look like me. That thought alone kept me awake until dawn. 4. Major reveal. The truth. The envelope arrived 2 days later. Simple. Unmarked. I opened it under a harsh light, the same kind used in interrogation rooms. Paternity excluded. I read it twice. Then a third time. The words stayed still, but everything beneath me shifted. He wasn't mine. He never had been. I thought of the years. Birthdays. Sleepless nights. Promises built on someone else's blood. She didn't know I knew. Not yet. That night, she came to my apartment, eyes swollen, hands trembling. "Mark, please," she whispered. "You have to believe me." I didn't know he'd hurt him. I handed her the envelope, without saying a word. She opened it. Her breath caught like a gun that jammed. I can explain." "No," I replied softly. "You can't." Her face crumpled. The silence between us weighed more than any battlefield. 5. Cold confrontation, the revenge. I waited 3 more days. Let her panic. Let her imagine what I might do. When she finally called, I told her I was at the hospital. She arrived in tears, sprinting down the hallway. But the doctors had discharged my son that morning. She didn't know. I had already signed full custody, her signature forged by a pen I'd used on covert missions. Evidence of abuse was anonymously sent to child services. Her boyfriend's warrant was issued an hour ago, attempted murder. And copies of the DNA report were sent to his employer, her parents, everyone whose approval she lived for. No threats. No screaming. Just truth. When she found me standing outside the empty hospital room, she choked. What did you do? I looked at her one final time. I corrected the record. She tried to grab my arm. I stepped back, the same measured step you take from a ticking explosive. She collapsed in the hallway. I walked away before her first sob hit the floor. 6. Closure, emotional detachment. My son, her son, was safe now, sleeping beneath my mother's roof. He would wake.